Hey everyone, happy Rusev Day. Welcome to NoDQ video here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRift_NoDQ. The year 2017 is almost over. We are very close to 2018, which will be the 20-year anniversary of NoDQ.com. Big things popping over on the website, so check out NoDQ.com. Latest news and rumors. With that being said, let's get down to your questions. First one today comes from Rob Klein. Who will be the big surprise Rumble entry? Do you think EC3 or another big TNA star could debut? And he does use the hashtag Rusev Day. Regarding surprise entrants in the Royal Rumble match, I think Ronda Rousey is a possibility for the women's match. I think she's the one that's most heavily rumored right now. As far as the men's match goes, other than Daniel Bryan possibly being a surprise entrant, and Bryan I don't really see being an entrant because if he's in it, he should win it. And I think if Bryan is wrestling again, he will wrestle Shane McMahon at WrestleMania since that is the storyline direction. If it's not Bryan, I don't know if we're going to see any other surprise entrants in the Royal Rumble. I don't think we'll be seeing any former TNA stars or anything like that. And that does lead me to the next question from SCW Wrestling Channel. With WWE having a lot of depth on Raw and SmackDown rosters, can you see there being less surprise entrants in the 2018 Royal Rumble match? Who would you want as a surprise entrant, if any, in the upcoming Rumble match? So I think you make a very good point. The fact that the roster is very bloated right now makes me think there will be few, if any, surprise entrants this year. I don't think we'll see any big surprises. Maybe one or two legends might show up. Maybe one or two NXT superstars. But beyond that, I don't think we're going to see much this year because there's 30 spots and there's a lot of guys in WWE right now, guys like Mike Kanellis, that are struggling to get television time, period. And I think that the spots in the Royal Rumble match will be reserved for the guys that are already on the roster that are struggling with the Rumble match. This is their opportunity to get on television, on pay-per-view. So I think WWE will stick to using the guys that they already have. You know, in previous years, when the roster was a lot thinner, you could bring in some legends. And I remember like in 1997, the roster was so thin that WWE was bringing in talent from Mexico. Right now, they don't need anybody in the Royal Rumble match. WWE has plenty of guys to fill those 30 spots. And as far as who I would want as a surprise, of course, for me personally, I'd like to see a few surprises from the past, a few legends. Somebody like a Ken Shamrock would be awesome. Just a name out of the past, maybe Gangrel, somebody from the Attitude Era. Just see a few old-timers come back for one more night, one more big pop. You know, even Jake the Snake Roberts, if he could do it. Those kind of guys. Got this one here from Brandon. Sing Rusev Day. It's Rusev Day. Will we ever see Rey Mysterio back in WWE again? If Rey Mysterio is open to a comeback to WWE, how would they book his comeback, and do you see him entering the 2018 Rumble? Brandon is a first-time asker. I think we will see Rey Mysterio back in WWE someday, but not on a full-time basis. I think Rey Mysterio doing a full WWE schedule, those days are gone. As far as a Royal Rumble appearance goes, I think that is a long shot at best. I don't think we will see Rey Mysterio in the Royal Rumble, but I do think he will be back one of these days when the timing's right for him to come back and make an impact. Maybe one more WrestleMania match. I feel like Mysterio is too big of a name to bring back for a one-off at the Rumble. You know, I mentioned earlier guys like Gangrel, stars from the past. Rey Mysterio could still come back and have a huge run. So I think it would be better bringing him back when he can actually be a major factor rather than just be a guy who comes in, does a few moves, and then gets eliminated. I think you can do more with Rey Mysterio if you bring him back, and I think there are better ways to utilize him than just throwing him out there in a Royal Rumble match. Got this one here from That's Gotta Be Kane, another first-time asker. 2 today, 2 in a row. New to Twitter and first-time asker. Well, welcome to Twitter. I hope the people on Twitter don't scare you away. I just ordered a Happy Rusev Day t-shirt and it's on back order. Where's your NoDQ.com t-shirt? That's my question. Looks like merch sales are good and the crowd loves them. Do you think that this could lead to a renewed and more serious push for Rusev in the future? I hope so. I feel Rusev is one of the more talented guys in WWE. Not just having the skills in the ring, but having a good look, being strong, having that credibility as a strong guy, being tough, you know, that toughness factor, and just the fact that he has charisma and personality. I think Rusev has all the tools to be a big star. He had his monster heel push, and I feel like Rusev Day could potentially save Rusev as far as being a star in WWE more than just a comedy act. I feel like if it wasn't for Rusev Day, Rusev would be going down the card, going down the route of Kozlov and being this comedy figure and just being in opening matches. But now with this Rusev Day thing catching on organically, Rusev can potentially be a monster babyface now. I mean, the crowd is really behind the guy, and he could get a serious push as a babyface. The question is, will WWE do it? Will WWE invest in him, or will WWE feel since he's not getting over the way they want him to get over, they're not going to bother with it, you know? Since it is organic and not WWE's concept for what they wanted to do with Rusev, maybe they're not going to push him. Just like Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder got over on his own, but he did it without the corporate machine, and WWE never really capitalized on Ryder's momentum. Rusev has momentum. The question is, will WWE follow up on it, or will Rusev just continue to be this comedy mid-carder and just slowly work his way down the hill, down the card, despite getting the reactions from the fans? Got this one here from Dave Lesnar, who always seems to ask about Batista. I think he's a Batista fan. If the rumor about Batista returning for a 6-month deal is true, how would you book it? Because it's make or break, I'd say. He has to be Hollywood heel Batista, surely. He has to work with AJ Styles, as he will give him a 4-star match. Then work with Brock, then Triple H. If Batista comes back, then yeah, I would definitely give him a good 6-month to a year run. Have him do maybe 4 matches. If he wants to do a match with Triple H, fine, but not at WrestleMania. Maybe do it at SummerSlam or some random pay-per-view. But give us Batista versus Braun Strowman, Batista versus Samoa Joe, and maybe Batista versus AJ Styles. It might be a bit of a clash of styles, so to speak, with Batista being the big man, but then again, Lesnar and Styles turned out to be a really strong match. You could do a similar type of match with Batista and AJ Styles. But I want to see Batista in there with the other beasts. I want to see him in there with Brock Lesnar, with Braun Strowman, with Samoa Joe, and then yeah, if you want to throw him in there against Triple H for the 4th match, fine. Just give me the other 3 and I'll be happy. 4 matches, spread it out over a 6-month to a year period. Bam, I think you have a really solid final run for Batista. And yeah, I like him as a heel. I like him doing the spotlight and just doing whatever he wants to do, say whatever he wants to say, no holding back. He just goes out there and has that creative freedom to just say whatever he's feeling. Got this one here from Kayfabe Candy Ass. Let's assume Ronda Rousey wins the Royal Rumble. Do you think many WWE fans will reject that WWE booked an outsider to win the first event instead of one of their own, or mostly accept her as a legitimate big star worthy of the spot regardless? Great question. I feel like there is debate about this. I know some fans online do not like the idea of Ronda Rousey being at WrestleMania, feeling she's washed up, she's over the hill. I disagree with that. I think Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania in a big high-profile match is great for business. It will generate headlines, Ronda Rousey and WWE getting the SportsCenter moment, lots of mainstream publicity, and potentially, you know, people are asking me, will the women ever main event WrestleMania? If Rousey's in it at WrestleMania in a big match, there's a possibility. I think the best chance of it ever happening is Ronda Rousey against the top female superstar at WrestleMania, whether it's Charlotte or Alexa Bliss. Charlotte, I think, is the best bet. Having Ronda Rousey win the Rumble and then challenging Charlotte at WrestleMania, I think that's huge. And then maybe Ronda would be nice enough to put over Charlotte at WrestleMania. That would be just tremendous for Charlotte's career, to beat Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania. I don't know if Ronda would go for it, but maybe if Ronda gets the Royal Rumble win and then puts over Charlotte, imagine what that does for Charlotte. That really makes Charlotte an all-time great, arguably the greatest female superstar of all time right there. So yeah, if the stars were aligned correctly and money was not a problem and creatively Ronda was going to do whatever, I would have Ronda Rousey win the Rumble and then put over Charlotte at WrestleMania, and bam, Charlotte is your Steve Austin or Rock of the women's division, and she is the star of the women's division and one of the biggest stars of the company. This one comes from Smirtaza. Hey Aaron, if they're planning a Jason Jordan heel turn, could you see him facing Kurt Angle at WrestleMania? I don't think Jordan is big enough to face Angle at WrestleMania, but I think this is the storyline they are going in. For the longest time, I felt like that was the direction. However, now with Dean Ambrose being injured, I think that throws a big monkey wrench in WrestleMania plans. See, I was sensing we were going to have 3 matches. We were going to have Kurt Angle versus Jason Jordan, and that would give Triple H the chance to face Braun Strowman at WrestleMania, and then Seth Rollins would take on Dean Ambrose. I think Dean Ambrose being hurt now and possibly missing WrestleMania, that changes everything. Now Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan are the tag team champions, and it feels like maybe WWE is going to halt this Jason Jordan heel turn and go in a different direction right now because of Ambrose's injury. It's really interesting to see what happens now, but certainly you think WWE will have to change some of the WrestleMania plans because of Dean Ambrose getting hurt. Jordan versus Angle, I think, would be a great match for Jason Jordan. No doubt that would elevate him big time, but I don't know if it's going to happen now or not. We'll just have to wait and see. But I think if the Jordan heel turn was executed well, and you know WWE has already invested so much in this story, if Jordan did the angle where he turned on Kurt Angle and revealed that he set the whole thing up, and then you set up the WrestleMania match, I would be fine with it. I think story-wise, it would make sense. Is Jordan ready for the spot? Jordan's a great wrestler. People seem to forget that. He is a great wrestler. It's the storyline and the character that have really turned off people in recent months. So I think Angle and Jordan would deliver in the ring. Is Jordan experienced enough to be able to help Angle get through the match with Angle being at his age? That remains to be seen, but I think they would pull it off if they had the match at WrestleMania. This one comes from Dave. If Dean Ambrose has to miss WrestleMania with the elbow injury, what do you see Seth doing? Great question, and I just mentioned in that previous question how Ambrose being hurt really changes everything. What do you do with Seth Rollins now with no Dean Ambrose either as an opponent or a tag team partner? Now there's always a possibility Ambrose will be back in time and WWE can go ahead with an Ambrose heel turn, which is what I've been wanting to see. for the longest time. If Ambrose is unable to make WrestleMania, then I don't know what you do with Seth Rollins. That is a really valid question, and I don't have a good answer for it. I don't know where Rollins would fit on the WrestleMania card. Maybe you could do something with Balor, Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. I really don't know, because Rollins and Ambrose, that was what was in my brain for WrestleMania. If you guys go back to NoDQ video 1000, that was on my fantasy card. Either that or them as a tag team. So I really don't know what the best spot is for Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. What do you guys think? Leave a comment and let me know who should be Seth Rollins' opponent at WrestleMania if Dean Ambrose is unable to make the show. Got this one here from They See Me Rollins. Has the Shield reunion been disappointing? It feels like more of Roman Reigns hanging with the cool kids so people can like him. Well, that's basically what it was. The Shield reunion was designed to get Roman Reigns some cheers from the fans and give him the cool factor that he's been missing for a while now. Yeah, it's pretty much been a big letdown, and that's because of Roman Reigns being sick with the mumps and now Dean Ambrose being injured. That is really, those two things have really prevented the Shield reunion from reaching its full potential and perhaps lasting several more months longer than it did. And they really just had that one match on Raw. And then I think they did the Tribute to the Troops match, and that was it for the actual 3 members of the Shield reunion, and even the whole house show tour, because of first Roman Reigns getting sick, Angle filled in for several shows, and Triple H filled in, and now you have Ambrose out, which means it's Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan. So yeah, Shield reunion definitely disappointing because of the sickness and the injury. Got this one here from Alec. Here's an interesting question. With Disney now owning Marvel, ESPN, and Fox Entertainment, what would happen if they decided to buy WWE? Would it be good or bad for business, and how would things change? First of all, I'm just going to say this. I don't think WWE will sell to Disney. As big as Disney is getting, they're conquering the world. I don't think Vince would sell his baby for any amount of money. Vince likes to have control. It's a family business. It's been a family business from Vince Sr. And going back to Vince Sr.'s father. And now with Shane, and well, not really Shane. Shane's more of an on-screen talent and nothing more, but Shane has been part of WWE for many years. Triple H and Stephanie will continue to run the company. And you know, Triple H and Stephanie's children will most likely get involved in some way. So it's a family business, and Vince has worked really hard for many years to make this family business a juggernaut. I feel Vince's pride would not allow WWE to be sold to Disney. I think the odds are against that happening. Now, if it did happen, let's just say for argument's sake it did, I think WWE would mostly be the same. I mean, WWE is already very politically correct and, you know, PG and all that stuff, and they're not pushing the envelope all that much. I think it would be more the same. I think, yeah, under the Disney umbrella, WWE would never go back to the Attitude Era, but I don't think that's happening anyways. I think those days are gone, and I think WWE will, regardless of who's in control, I think will continue to be somewhat of an edgy product, but for the most part will be family friendly. This one comes from the Costanza. It's the Costanza. Hey, could you see Braun Strowman inducting Big Show into the Hall of Fame when he goes in? Thanks yet again. I think Strowman would be a fine choice. I also like the idea of one of Big Show's great opponents, like maybe Kurt Angle inducting him, or Steve Austin, or Ric Flair. Ric Flair would be a great choice. Well, actually, now that I think about it, I think Flair would just talk about himself, so maybe that's not the best choice. Hogan. Hogan would be a great choice because Hogan brought Big Show in, and Hogan was Big Show's first pay-per-view opponent. and you know, they have a long history together. I'd love to see that. Maybe Kevin Nash, maybe Triple H. There's a lot of possibilities for Big Show. But Strowman, as far as current guys go, I think he would be a great choice. John Cena would be a great choice. There's a lot of different people you could have induct Big Show into the Hall of Fame. Got this one here from Seth K. If the Nexus had won at SummerSlam, do you think they would have been able to last long enough to be able to feud with The Shield, and would that have been interesting to watch? Interesting question. The Shield was 2 years after Nexus, so I don't know if Nexus would have lasted that long. The Shield did not even last 2 years. They lasted, what, about a year and a half before they broke up? So I don't think the Nexus would have lasted long enough for that feud to become a reality. But I think many would argue that the Shield ended up being what Nexus should have been. Nexus should have been dominant. Those guys should have been just beating everybody. WWE got it right with the Shield. When the Shield came in, those guys were protected like crazy. They were beating everybody month after month, and it was a good solid 7-8 months until the Shield finally lost a match. Those guys were booked the right way. That's how Nexus should have been booked. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't think Nexus, even if they were booked strongly, would have lasted that long, 2 years. That'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ Video. If you enjoyed today's video, please share it on social media. Tell a friend about NoDQ Video. Anybody you know who watches wrestling, have them check out this video. And I will see you guys next time for another edition of NoDQ Video.